Have you ever looked at a plant and thought it's just standing there? Well, not always. Most people imagine plants as silent, motionless organisms rooted to the ground. They don't chase prey, run from danger, or search for food. At least that's what we were taught. But nature has a few surprises. Scattered across forests, deserts, swamps, and jungles are plants that can snap shut in milliseconds, fold their leaves when touched, launch their seeds like tiny cannons, and even climb, trap, and hunt living animals. Some react to sunlight, others respond to insects, and a few move so strangely that, at first glance, they seem more like animals than plants. The most surprising part? None of them have muscles, brains, or nervous systems. Yet somehow, they move. So let's count down the 12 most bizarre moving plants ever discovered. Number 12, Dodder Vine. Let's begin with a plant that's less like a flower and more like a silent thief. Meet the Dodder Vine, a strange orange-yellow vine that barely looks like a normal plant at all. Unlike most plants, Dodder has almost no leaves and very little chlorophyll, meaning it can't make enough food from sunlight to survive on its own. So instead, it does something far more unusual. After its seed sprouts, the young vine slowly swings through the air in circles, almost as if it's searching. Scientists have discovered that it can actually detect chemical scents released by nearby plants. Once it finds a suitable victim, it wraps tightly around the stem like a living rope. Then, the real invasion begins. Special needle-like structures grow into the host plant, stealing its water and nutrients, while the dodder continues to spread from one plant to another. It's technically moving, but every movement brings it closer to its next victim. Thankfully, our next plant doesn't steal from its neighbors, it fires its own seeds instead. Number 11, Squirting Cucumber. Imagine watering your garden only for one of the vegetables to suddenly explode. That's essentially what the squirting cucumber does. Native to parts of Europe and the Mediterranean, this unusual plant has evolved one of the strangest seed dispersal methods in nature. As the fruit ripens, pressure slowly builds inside until it reaches an incredible level. The slightest touch, or even a strong gust of wind, can cause the fruit to detach from its stem. The instant it breaks free, it blasts a stream of sticky liquid packed with seeds several meters away in less than a second. It's nature's version of a tiny water cannon. That explosive movement helps the plant spread its offspring far away from the parent, reducing competition for sunlight, water, and nutrients. Messy? Definitely effective? Absolutely. But if you think launching seeds is impressive, wait until you meet a flower that spends its entire life chasing the sun. Number 10, Common Sunflower. Most flowers bloom, then stay exactly where they are. The common sunflower does something different. During its early growth, the flower slowly turns from east to west throughout the day, following the sun across the sky. As night falls, it gradually rotates back toward the east, ready to greet the sunrise again. This daily movement is called heliotropism. Unlike animals, the sunflower isn't using muscles. Instead, different sides of its stem grow at slightly different speeds, gently bending the plant toward the strongest light source. Why go through all that effort? Because facing the sun allows young plants to absorb more energy, grow faster, and even attract more pollinating insects once they mature. Eventually, mature sunflowers stop moving and remain facing east for the rest of their lives. It may look slow, but it's one of the most elegant examples of movement in the plant kingdom. And if you think plants only move because of sunlight, our next one moves every single night, even in complete darkness. Number 9, Prayer Plant. Most plants become still after sunset. The prayer plant does the exact opposite. As evening approaches, its broad, colorful leaves slowly lift upward until they fold together like two hands in prayer. Then, as morning arrives, the leaves gently open again to greet the daylight. This remarkable daily movement is called nyctinasty. Unlike the sunflower, which follows the sun, the prayer plant uses a tiny cushion-like structure at the base of each leaf called a pulvinus. By moving water in and out of specialized cells, the plant raises and lowers its leaves every single day without using muscles. Scientists believe this nightly movement may help protect the leaves from cool temperatures, heavy rain, or hungry insects. It's a graceful performance that repeats day after day for the plant's entire life. Beautiful? Absolutely, but our next plant doesn't move with elegance, it moves because survival in the desert demands it. Number 8, Creeping Devil Cactus. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary cactus rooted in the desert, but under the right conditions, the Creeping Devil Cactus appears to slowly crawl across the landscape. Unlike most cacti, this unusual plant doesn't simply grow upward. As new segments develop at one end, the older sections gradually die off behind it. Over many months and sometimes years, the living part of the cactus slowly shifts across the ground, giving the illusion that it's creeping through the desert. Its movement is incredibly slow, almost impossible to notice in real time, but over long periods, the change becomes obvious. This unusual growth strategy helps the cactus spread into new areas where water and sunlight may be easier to find, while leaving behind seeds that can grow into new plants. It's not walking, but it's certainly not staying in one place either. And if that slow movement seems unimpressive, our next plant reacts so quickly that it can move in less than a second. Number 7. Trigger plant. Imagine landing on a flower to collect nectar, only to be slapped in the back. Meet the trigger plant. Native mainly to Australia, this remarkable flower hides a spring-loaded structure called the floral column. While it waits, the column is held under tension like a tiny loaded trap. The moment a visiting insect brushes against the flower, the column suddenly snaps forward in a fraction of a second, striking the insect. At first, that sounds aggressive, but the plant isn't trying to hurt its visitor. It's trying to make sure pollen sticks to the insect's body. As the startled insect flies away and lands on another trigger plant, it unknowingly carries the pollen with it, helping both flowers reproduce. It's one of nature's most precise pollination systems, fast, accurate, and surprisingly effective. But if you thought that snap was impressive, the next plant doesn't just tap insect, it traps them forever. Number 6. Cape Sundew. At first glance, it looks harmless. Tiny leaves covered in sparkling droplets shimmer in the sunlight like morning dew. But don't be fooled. Meet the Cape Sundew, one of the world's most effective carnivorous plants. Those glittering droplets aren't water at all. They're a thick, sticky mucus designed to trap unsuspecting insects. The moment a fly or mosquito lands on one of the leaves, it becomes hopelessly stuck. Then the plant begins to move. Slowly, almost silently, the surrounding tentacles start bending inward. Over the next several minutes, the entire leaf hurls around its struggling prey like a closing hand, making escape nearly impossible. Once the insect is completely trapped, the sundew releases digestive enzymes that dissolve its victim and absorb the valuable nutrients, especially nitrogen, that are scarce in the poor soils where it grows. It's not hunting with speed, it's hunting with patience, and that's what makes it so effective. But if you think trapping insects with sticky leaves is strange, our next plant doesn't wait for prey to come to it. It hunts underwater. Number 5. Bladderwort. Most carnivorous plants wait patiently. The bladderwort doesn't. Hidden beneath the surface of ponds and wetlands, this strange aquatic plant has no roots at all. Instead, it floats freely through the water while carrying hundreds of tiny hollow bladders along its stems. Each bladder is a microscopic trap. The plant pumps water out of the bladder, creating a powerful vacuum inside. At the entrance, tiny trigger hairs wait for the slightest touch. The moment a tiny insect, water flea, or microscopic creature brushes against those hairs, the trapdoor flies open. Water and the unlucky prey are sucked inside in less than a millisecond before the door instantly slams shut again. It's one of the fastest movements in the entire plant kingdom. Once the prey is trapped, digestive enzymes break it down, allowing the bladderwort to absorb the nutrients it needs to survive in nutrient-poor water. No jaws, no teeth, just one of nature's fastest vacuum trap. But if you think moving underwater is impressive, our next plant sends a message from one leaf to another, almost like it's communicating. Number 4. Telegraph Plant. Most plants react so slowly that you'd never notice them moving. The telegraph plant is different. Native to tropical Asia, this remarkable plant constantly moves its small side leaves throughout the day. Instead of waiting for someone to touch it, the leaves slowly rise, fall, and rotate on their own, almost as if they're performing a silent dance. The movements are driven by tiny changes in water pressure inside specialized cells at the base of each leaf. As water shifts from one side to the other, the leaves gently change position, sometimes completing an entire cycle in just a few minutes. Scientists believe these movements help the plant maximize sunlight while also regulating temperature and improving photosynthesis. Watching one in real life is almost unsettling. It doesn't just grow, it moves, almost like it's alive in a way plants aren't supposed to be. But if you think that's the closest a plant can get to walking, our next one has earned that reputation for a very unusual reason. Number 3. Walking palm. Imagine returning to the same forest a few years later, only to find that one of the trees isn't where you remember it. Welcome to the legend of the walking palm. For decades, people have claimed this unusual rainforest tree can slowly walk across the jungle floor. Its tall, stilt-like roots spread out in every direction, lifting the trunk above the ground and giving it an appearance unlike almost any other tree. According to the popular story, if another tree blocks its sunlight, the walking palm grows new supporting roots toward the brighter side while older roots gradually die away. Over many years, this could make the tree appear to shift its position. It's a fascinating idea, but scientists are still debating whether mature walking palms truly move this way or if the story has been exaggerated over time. Even so, those remarkable stilt roots help the tree stay stable on soft, uneven rainforest soil and continue reaching for the light above. Whether it really walks or not, it's one of the most mysterious plants ever discovered. But if you think a tree that might walk is unbelievable, our next plant reacts the instant you touch it. Number 2. Sensitive plant. Have you ever touched a plant and watched it move? Meet the sensitive plant, one of the most famous moving plants on Earth. The moment something brushes against its delicate leaves, they instantly fold inward and the entire stem begins to droop. Just seconds earlier, the plant looked perfectly healthy. Now, it appears as though it suddenly wilted. So what's happening? At the base of each leaf is a small, flexible joint called a pulvinus. When the plant senses touch, vibration, heat, or even a strong gust of wind, it rapidly pumps water out of specialized cells. Without that internal pressure, the leaves collapse almost instantly. Scientists believe this rapid movement helps scare away hungry animals or makes the plant seem less appealing to eat. After a few minutes, water slowly flows back into the cells and the leaves reopen as if nothing ever happened. It's one of the fastest and most dramatic defensive movements in the plant kingdom. But if you think folding leaves is impressive, wait until you meet the plant that doesn't just react to animals, it eats them. Number 1. Venus Flytrap. Imagine you're a tiny fly. You spot what looks like an ordinary leaf, land for a quick meal, and suddenly the ground beneath you snaps shut. That's exactly how the Venus Flytrap hunts. Native to the wetlands of North and South Carolina, this legendary carnivorous plant survives in soil that contains very few nutrients. To make up for it, evolution gave it an extraordinary solution. Inside each trap are tiny trigger hairs. Touch one, nothing happens. Touch 2 hairs within about 20 seconds, or the same hair twice, and the trap slams shut in a fraction of a second. This clever system prevents the plant from wasting energy on raindrops, falling leaves, or other false alarms. If the trapped insect keeps struggling, the fly trap seals its jaws even tighter. Digestive enzymes are released, slowly breaking the prey down over several days until only the hard outer shell remains. Then, the trap opens, ready to hunt again. No muscles, no brain, no nervous system, yet one of the fastest movements in the entire plant kingdom, and perhaps the most astonishing reminder that plants are far more capable than they appear. From vines that hunt their neighbors, to flowers that slap insects, to underwater vacuum traps and leaves that snap shut in the blink of an eye, these incredible plants prove one thing. Nature never needed muscles to create movement. It simply found different ways to solve the same problems. So, which of these bizarre moving plants surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this countdown, don't forget to subscribe for more unbelievable stories where science, nature, and curiosity collide.